Jump the charts again. It's Everything is Awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love this song!
The announcement of the Lego Movie back in 2014 was largely met with a collective eye roll from the general public. I mean, a whole movie about Legos? That just sounds like stupid, fluffy kid stuff. But when it finally came out, the film turned out to be a pleasant surprise. The kind of movie that nobody thought would go anywhere, but turned out to be much more heartfelt and well-produced than it probably had any right to be, among the likes of The Iron Giant or Beavis and Butthead Do America. No, really.
Modest recommendation of Beavis and Butthead Do America for me.
I recommend it too. I enjoyed it a lot.
I was especially happy for the Lego Movie because I myself am an avowed believer in the merchandise-driven model, and the Lego Movie is sort of the apotheosis of that.
Great, get out the dictionary.
It means that it proves that not only can a piece of media both embrace a product and tell a good story, but that it can also be successful and profitable. The Lego Movie is that idea taken to its logical extreme, not just representing the storyline connected to the toys, but by using the actual toys themselves for everything in the movie, including the special effects. Admittedly not something without precedent, but the Lego Movie found a clever way of doing it. The Lego Movie is about an ordinary construction worker named Emmett, who finds himself at the center of the fight to stop the evil Lord Business from unleashing the power of an ancient artifact called
The Crackle!
Along the way, he travels to different Lego worlds and meets different Lego characters who are known as the Master Builders, people who can easily reconstruct the environment around them into whatever they want.
Whoa!
The Lego Movie's quality generated a lot of good press, enough so that it was able to rake in over $400 million worldwide, with the added promotional efforts helping Lego push into the role of the world's largest toy company. A lot of people were ecstatic about the Lego Movie, not the least of which were various corporate executives. They were positively beaming with dollar signs in their eyes at the sight of the Lego Movie causing a furor over not getting any award nominations, and their ideas for commercialized entertainment soared, with proposals coming out for movies based on everything from Fruit Ninja to Flaming Hot Cheetos. Again, no, really. When setting out to make their big commercial movie, Sony knew that they would have to find something big, something everybody has heard of and that they see every day, and didn't really cost them anything to license. The Emoji Movie takes place in a high schooler's cell phone and stars Gene, who is a meh emoji.
Oh boy, I'm gonna be so meh.
However, Gene expresses more emotions than just meh, something that causes trouble during his first day on the job.
What is that emoji?
Thus, Gene seeks out a hacker to fix his programming while being chased by the bots sent out by Smiler, the first ever emoji who is trying to prevent the phone from getting reset to factory specs and thus wiping all of them out. On the way, he travels to different app worlds and meets different app characters, including the Twitter icon. Now, I like to think of myself as the sort of guy who's open to new ideas, but having finally seen the Emoji Movie for myself, I can confirm that the bad rap it gets is pretty much warranted.
Don't do it. Wow.
Move it!
Are my fingers getting fat? I tell you what, this bandage wasn't so tight before.
Whoa. I think I just figured something out, Beavis.
What?
This sucks.
It's poorly paced, directionless, and thinks that mugging to the camera is the only way to be funny.
I shouldn't have picked the cactus. I shouldn't have picked it.
You didn't even try to get the tree. It's baffling.
It is also frequently accused of ripping off parts of the Lego Movie, since both films involve a yellow doofus teaming up with a punk girl to travel the multiverse. They even have the same title structure. So, let's take a look at what happened. What were the differences between these two films that explain why the Lego Movie worked and the Emoji Movie didn't? Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be going into plot details on both movies in this video, so yeah, spoiler warning. Go and watch the Lego Movie if you haven't yet. It really is that good. As for the Emoji Movie, you can read the Wikipedia entry. So let's make a quick comparison. Is it because the Lego Movie tells a much better story than the Emoji Movie? Well, on closer inspection, the Lego Movie actually uses a pretty stock plot. It's yet another movie where a guy doesn't fit in, gets in trouble, meets a girl, finds himself, and saves the day. It's the same plot used in a ton of movies, like Aladdin and even the Emoji Movie. Well, barring that, could it be that the Lego Movie is somehow less commercial than the Emoji Movie?
Candy Crush.
Again, no, not really. I mean, sure, the Emoji Movie dedicates large portions of its running time to Candy Crush and Just Dance for no good reason, more on that later, but on the other hand, I honestly cannot think of anything more commercial than animating an entire film out of your product. Every frame of the LEGO Movie is designed to show just how awesome LEGO bricks are, displaying their infinite potential in a kaleidoscope of creativity and colors. It is very much a commercial product. So, if it isn't any of those two things, what is it that sets these two movies apart? Well, I think I can explain just why that is, and the movies present us with a perfect point of comparison, how the movies put their A-list actors into play.
He is coming. Cover your butt.
Cover the what?
In both movies, several supporting characters are played by famous A-list actors in order to increase marquee value. In the LEGO Movie, we get Morgan Freeman and Liam Neeson, while in the Emoji Movie, we get Sir Patrick Stewart. Freeman plays an elderly mentor character named Vitruvius, and Neeson is our tough-talking bad cop.
Rest in pieces.
At first glance, these seem like the sort of roles that these actors are always put into, but there's a twist. Freeman, while he does play a mentor character, isn't all he's cracked up to be. Vitruvius frequently acts silly, gives obvious advice, and even flat-out lies at times.
All right, you gotta write all that down because I'm not gonna remember any of it, but here we go.
And bad cop? Well, he's still the gravelly-voiced hothead with a gun we tend to see from Neeson, but do you want to know what other character he voices in this movie?
Hi, buddy. I'm your friendly neighborhood police officer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liam Neeson as Good Cop, a funny, light-hearted character done in what is apparently Neeson's more natural voice, and more importantly, in stark contrast to the voice of Bad Cop. In the Emoji Movie, Sir Patrick Stewart plays the role of Poop. The joke is that Sir Patrick Stewart is playing Poop. So in the LEGO Movie, our A-list actors are given roles they have been largely typecast into, but have been given the freedom to really play around with and even subvert those roles for comedic effect. And from what I can tell, both actors had a blast doing it.
It was an honor to be portrayed by the golden-voiced Morgan Freeman. That man could read the phone book and make it sound interesting.
And this scene of inner conflict between Good Cop and Bad Cop?
I don't want to. You have to. I don't want to. Would you please be quiet?
I can't.
You must.
But they...
Shut it.
It's not nice.
It's your job, man.
That's not two takes of the different voices mixed together. That is a single take of Neeson's acting. Compare with Patrick Stewart, who looks and sounds just miserable.
I think you might be making too much stink out of all this.
With the exception of a single throwaway line at the end of the movie, the role of Poop wouldn't have been any different if it had been played by, say, Sir Ian McKellen, or Sir Elton John, or Sir Topham Hatt. Like, I mean, imagine if they'd made a deeper connection between Patrick Stewart and his role. Like, if Poop was Smiler's number 2 guy, but he always acted like he was in charge, like he was the captain. I mean, one line. Make it so, number 2. Oh wait, that's me. So this gives us an example of the difference between the LEGO Movie and the Emoji Movie. Both movies basically had the same set of cards to play, it's just the LEGO Movie played their hand a lot better. It's not that the LEGO Movie is some genius act of subversion that innovates on storytelling, it's that it's a little smarter than the Emoji Movie. Just smarter enough. Man, the grammar geeks are gonna have fun with that sentence. Now, truth be told, there are a couple of really important subversions done in the LEGO Movie. The first and most obvious one is the idea of the Chosen One, in this movie referred to as the Special. In the LEGO Movie, a twist of fate gets Emmett stuck to the one thing that can stop the Kraggle. However, this event doesn't actually change who Emmett is or give him any sort of special insight that would come with being a Chosen One.
You're not the Special, you lied to me!
But that actually brings us to our next big subversion. Usually the thing that causes somebody to not fit in is some sort of weird quirk or anomaly that makes them different from everybody else. Emmett's big flaw is that he's such a conformist that he literally does not stand out at all. Something that is driven home in the scene where he is interrogated by Bad Cop. A scene that also does a good job of endearing us to Emmett by showing his struggles with fitting in.
There you go. I told you I was a nobody.
However, it is this very conformity that helps Emmett come into his own, as his practicality and sense of teamwork help rein in the genius-level but free-spirited master builders whose first attempt at working together literally comes apart at the seams because everybody was too busy doing their own thing.
I'm just a construction worker. But when I had a plan, and we were all working together, I mean, we could build a skyscraper. Now, you're master builders. Just imagine what could happen if you did that.
The fact that Emmett gives his important teamwork speech long after his hopes of living up to being the Special are basically destroyed makes it a more important and inspiring moment. Now let's take a look at the Emoji Movie, which was actually made on a severely crunched timetable to beat the flamin' hot movie to theaters. Well, the quirk of our hero Gene is that he cannot keep a straight face, able to morph into many different emojis through no fault of his own. Now, aside from actually causing the problem that puts everyone in danger, Gene's quirk doesn't really come up again, except where he is used to impersonate other emojis in order to get through a firewall. Instead, most of the runtime is spent having Gene, along with Fat Load High Five and obvious Wildstyle clone Jailbreak, doing stuff in other apps and constantly mugging at the camera. It is very clear that the thing that suffered the most from the crunch timetable was the writing. Scenes are very poorly strung together, and a lot of the features of the characters are irrelevant to the situations they find themselves in. It is very clear that the script needed a bunch of revisions and perhaps a spark or two of inspiration. Now, what I mean by a spark of inspiration, in the Lego Movie, one of these sparks was the inclusion of Batman.
Pleased to meet you, bad guy. Batman, the pleasure is all mine.
Originally, Wildstyle's boyfriend was going to be the large pirate-themed automaton Metalbeard, which, come on. However, it was the realization that both Lego and WB had access to the DC Comics license that Batman was brought into the film as a far more worthy romantic rival. Because how are you gonna beat Batman, am I right? I mention this because there was a Sony license that was just begging to be slung into this movie. Now, bear with me for a minute, but imagine what would happen if Gene and Co. had encountered a Spider-Man emoji. He could have helped them navigate the worldwide web. I'll show myself out. Another thing is how the two movies handled traveling to different realms inside their respective universes. Not only did the Lego Movie go with classic and perennial lines that make the movie more timeless, but they never go anywhere for no reason. They go to the Old West because that's where Vitruvius is hiding, and they go to Middle Zealand because that's where the entrance to Cloud Cuckoo Land is, where all of the other master builders are waiting for the special. This is contrary to the Emoji Movie, where the obvious product placement of Candy Crush and Just Dance are little more than events the characters encounter with no impact on the story. Literally, all the characters do is play the game for a few minutes before moving on. They aren't woven into the story at all, they're just kinda thrown in. Another thing a lot of people have pointed out in the Emoji Movie are the plot holes, like how Smiler being the first emoji basically undermines Jailbreak's princess story, or for that supposedly tech-savvy teenager to not know the switch to silence his phone, which might have actually made for a funny visual gag, or biggest of all, the fact that when you reset a phone to factory specs, one of the few things that is not deleted are the emojis. Mentioning all of these flaws kind of misses the point though. The reason that these plot holes are so easily noticed is because we don't care about the characters. It's something I notice a lot of bad movies do in that they take it for granted that the audiences are going to care about the main characters. And that's not true. You gotta work for that a little bit. Caring about what happens to the main characters is a key point in suspension of disbelief, where people let themselves get absorbed into a movie's story. When they don't, they tend to look for flaws, and as we've established before, the Emoji Movie is loaded with them. And as a result, whether it be the crunch timeline, lack of writing spark, or various studio and sponsor demands, this newest generation of commercial films that was born with the Lego Movie seems to have died with the Emoji Movie. Even future Lego Movie endeavors aren't drawing the crowds they used to. Which is unfortunate. With the proper timetable and a little more creative freedom, a movie about the inner workings of your cell phone could have been a much more meaningful film. After all, they managed to make a movie about Beavis and Butthead that even film critics enjoyed, so technically anything is possible. And pretty soon we're gonna see if Disney has a better answer for this kind of story than Sony did.
The bunny gets the pancake.
The conclusion to both movies also offer some interesting concepts. In the Emoji Movie, the villain Smiler is defeated in literally 2 seconds. Compared to the Lego Movie, where Emmett saves the day in a way that I think I have never seen before. He appeals to Lord Business's humanity.
Right now, it's about you. And you still can change everything.
That, combined with a genuinely nuanced and subtle performance from Will Ferrell of all people, just blows my mind every time I see it. And so, that's the state of commercial tie-in films. While I do roll my eyes at the fact that WB has rolled out a Lego Cinematic Universe, since they have such a great history with those, the subsequent Lego movies have still been pretty good despite a much lower audience turnout. The Emoji Movie, however, has had a chilling effect on other films like this, possibly causing the plug to get pulled on similar projects that were more deserving of seeing the light of day. Best case scenario is that it triggers a serious round of revisions on these sorts of movies, and who knows, we might soon be congratulating the director of Flamin' Hot for their Oscar victory. So I guess the final takeaway is that if you want to make a movie that cashes in on a popular craze, you still gotta make a good movie.